All right, so we've laid the foundation. We've got philosophy. Now let's get to some how-to stuff. So, practical stuff on reading. Now, we talked about the type of books. We talked about the 150, the golden nugget, the focused reading, all that stuff, the Dalai Lama's principle. Now, how do you do it? Enough of that philosophy. Tell me how to do it. Here's how I want you to set up your life. Get a timer. Now, you can start with 15 minutes 3 times a day, but that might be too much for you. So I'd rather you do less. So figure up how many minutes a day you can realistically devote to reading. Just like working out or playing basketball or sports or whatever you do, or jogging, whatever you do to keep physically healthy. We want the mind healthy, okay? So, what is the what is the time you can devote? So let's say it's 15 minutes a day. For me, it's 45 minutes, okay? So I divide it by 3 and I get 15-minute chunks that I'm going to read in. For you, I'd rather you commit to 6 minutes a day and stick to it, okay? 6 divided by 3 is 2-minute intervals. So you're going to just divide it morning, afternoon, night. That's it. So if you devoted 6 minutes a day to reading, divided by 3, that's 2 minutes in the morning during breakfast. I just like to do it during meals or close to meals. You don't have to. 2 minutes in the afternoon and 2 minutes at night. 6 minutes. Okay? For me, it's 45 minutes a day, so I do 15 at breakfast, 15 in the afternoon, and 15 before I fall asleep. So the way you do it, what I like to do, and I recommend start with my way. You can tweak it as you find what works for you. In the morning, I call it the soap of the brain. The soap of the brain, you're going to be cleansed from all the consumerism that's in the world. The average human, you and I, see at least 2,000 advertisements a day. People trying to get us to be the sucker and buy their stuff. It's too much. So the classics in the morning. You read a great work by somebody who stood the test of time before we were in a modern commercial consumerist world. So this morning I read Homer. The day before I read Gogol. He wrote The Overcoat. He's a Russian writer. I read Poincaré, the mathematician. I read Freud. There's some good books. There's some classic series, little volume sets you can get. I've got a few different ones, the Yale Classics. There's a couple different ones. But there where you're at breakfast, you set your timer. If you have an iPhone or an Android or something, if you set devoted to 6 minutes a day, then you set it to 2 minutes. You grab one of your classic books, whichever one's on your bookshelf. Hopefully you're ordering them from Amazon or wherever. You get the book and you go, you know what? I got 2 minutes. My goal today is I'm feeling a little depressed. I need some happiness. You scan the book with intention. Now, sometimes the book won't have it. If you're looking for happiness, you may not want to read Dostoevsky or one of the more depressing writers. So you pick your classic book and you go, I need soap for my brain. Just like you take a shower in the morning if you've been out, or at the end of the night because you're dirty, you need to cleanse the mind. And the best way, set that timer, whatever it is, your interval, 2 minutes, boom, 60 seconds, done. It's kind of like doing one set of exercise. So I like to do classics. This morning I did 15 minutes. I read Homer, Odyssey. Then lunchtime. Now what I like to do, if you take a nap, which is one of the greatest things you can do for your health, Ben Greenfield, the best-selling author, Beyond Endurance. He, and a friend, mentor to me on health. I help him with business. He helps me with health. And he says, my biggest mistake I made was not napping enough. He was a top athlete, or is a top Ironman type athlete. So you can incorporate, you can get a win-win Pareto efficiency symbiotic experience by taking a book. When you're done eating, you'll be a little tired at lunch. Even I was in Germany, one of the top business guys there with him, Norman, and he has a little nap room in his office. And I took a nap. It was great. So grab your book, and in the afternoon, when your brain is kind of, you're in the full of the day, I read my how-to book. So I'm reading, where's the one? I'm reading The Winning Book by this guy. Jack Welch. So that was my 15-minute how-to book. I was focused on just some management tips, managing people. I've got a lot of people I'm hiring for different companies I own. So that was the takeaway. Okay, that's lunch. And a lot of times it will help you take a nap. So if you're going to do the nap thing, what I do for me is whatever my reading interval is, I add 20 minutes to it, because it takes me 5 minutes to fall asleep, and if I sleep longer than 15 minutes, I feel groggy. So if I've set myself for 15 minutes of reading, then I'll set my timer. I'll have 20 minutes plus my reading interval. So that's 35 minutes. 20 plus 15, 35. If your reading interval is just 2 minutes, then you could set your timer to 22 minutes. It gives you 2 minutes to read, 5 minutes to fall asleep without pressure, and then your sleep. I don't always fall asleep exactly, but I've found if I sleep 5 to 15 minutes, I feel very alive. So, and I got my how-to in. Okay? You can do it at work, you can do it wherever. Get in that habit. I was reading Hillary Clinton's book, talking about top executives, presidential level people, and they're like, you got to learn to nap. Well, one of the great basketball players, I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he advised Magic Johnson, you better learn to nap in this business. You're going to die. So you want to do big things. Use this symbiotic napping / how-to. Thirdly, and lastly, at the end of each day, I believe the best way to fall asleep is reading. In the Story of the Human Body, Lieberman, the Harvard professor, also talks about how just laying in complete quiet is a reason he believes a lot of people can't sleep well, because he said our brain's not adapted over generations and thousands of years to work that way. So a little bit of distraction, and I have no problem sleeping. I've always read, and I believe you should read a biography at night. So you notice, if you choose to adopt my way, you're going to have 3 books open at any one time. Now remember, it doesn't have to be new ones. You can do the same 3 books for the whole week if you want. Generally, the classic book, I will rotate a new one every day. The how-to one, I might, because in 15 minutes, I might not finish it. The biographies, okay, at night, I tend to read the least speed reading, okay? So I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about that now. So this is the routine. Next video, I'm going to talk about how to read different books differently, okay? It's a very common question, the SMART technique. You can't read all books. You can't speed read an autobiography or a classic book in the same way you might read a quick how-to book. So this is the routine that I want you to think about. I want you to just try it as an experiment, try my way, tweak it to suit your needs best. So below this video, I would like you to put just 3, I would like you to answer this first question. How many minutes are you going to budget over the next, remember the best habit forming is 67 days. So over the next 67 days, what reading habit are you going to implement? For some of you, hopefully all of you are in the 67 Steps program. If you're not, it's above. It's about how to rewire your brain for success, 1 video a day for 67 days, but you can, alongside it, set a certain amount of minutes. I recommend at least 6 minutes a day at a very minimum. And for now, I suggest no more than 45 minutes, because it's like lifting weights. If you start bench pressing 200 pounds, you're going to pull a muscle, hurt yourself, get discouraged, and never do it again. So if you set 6 minutes, then that'd be 3 intervals at 2 minutes each. If you're going to do 30 minutes, 3 10-minute intervals. 18 minutes, 3 6 minutes. Keep it, if you've got to err on the side, it's better to do less reading, more consistent, because over the next 67 days, you'll literally change the neural pathways. Dr. Sharon Molen talks about an inheritance. You'll literally rewire your DNA, not literally, but your DNA will activate, or your genes are dynamic. New catalysts, enzymes will be activated that change your patterns. That's what we want to do in 67 days. So pick a low number. So what's your number? 3 intervals of how many minutes? Okay, the second question is, are you going to try the nap technique? Okay, and how many, if so, second question is, how many minutes does it take you to fall asleep on average? Because you got to add the reading time to that. So if it takes you 10 minutes to fall asleep, then I recommend you set your timer to 25 minutes plus your reading interval. So I believe a 15-minute power nap I've read is a very powerful one to start with. You can tweak it. So if I sleep 30 minutes, I feel groggy. So for me, it's like 5 to 25 minutes, and I average that to 15. What's your amount of time you want to sleep? How many minutes it takes you to fall asleep? And then add the interval, and that's what you need to set your timer to at lunchtime. At nighttime, do you have troubles? This is the third question now. Comment. Remember, you got to answer these to unlock the next video. What is your biggest problem sleeping? Okay, and do you think reading a biography at night will help you? Let me just add, the biography at night should be not too like scary or something. Ideally, it can be even teeniest bit boring, will help you sleep. Remember, books can help you set routines also. So unlock this, and I got a couple more videos for you. We're gonna get to a powerful one on how to read different books smart. Different types of books must be read differently. Let's get some more technique going, all right? See you on the next video.